Welcome to my first experience playing CS2 as a lifelong Call of Duty player. And as you can see, we're not playing one of the normal CS2 maps. That's right, we're on Call of Duty Black Ops 2's world famous Raid, a blast from the past. I know I'm feeling nostalgia, I'm sure you're gonna feel nostalgia, so let's get right into it. As you can see, I'm in a private match, a 3v3 with 5 of my other friends, and they've been playing this game a lot more than I have, as it's only my first time playing CS2. I've only been playing for a few days now, so still getting the hang of things, but I think it's actually coming along pretty well. I'll tell you what, you're going to want to stick around until the last 2 rounds to finally see me put some things together. I know the beginning isn't exactly the best gameplay, but again, it's just my first time, and I'm getting a lot better each and every day. I know there's a lot of differences between CS2 and Call of Duty, as I'm starting to realize right now. It's a lot more tactical, a lot more slower pace, and you have to be patient, and that's not necessarily something that I'm all that used to in Call of Duty on console. And then obviously making the transition from console to PC has been very tough as well. You'll notice later on in the gameplay that I'm using a lot of guns with scopes because, I mean, let's just be honest, when you're playing Call of Duty for years upon years, that's all you're really used to is using scoped weapons. You're not really used to this hip fire that CS2 introduces to you. So it's all been a huge adjustment, but again, I think I'm getting the hang of it. And I think another big difference, typically you play in, core modes within Call of Duty, and, I know you still get your heads up display and everything like that in CS2, but there's a lot of nuances that have kind of thrown me off. And, I know maybe this isn't typical, like, for instance, the bomb site. Obviously, you would just walk up to it in Call of Duty and plant right next to it, right? But in CS, you need to be within that zone to plant the bomb. You actually don't necessarily know how long it takes to plant or diffuse. I mean, I know you know the amount of time in your head, but there's no actual timer or progress bar that's actually counting that down. So that's been an adjustment, and even just like audio cues when the round is ticking down. I know in Call of Duty, when there's 30 seconds left or something like that, it starts to tick faster and louder, so that you need to get a move on and plant the bomb or do whatever needs to be done. So a lot of subtle things, but actually, I think my experience from Black Ops 2, where I was actually playing competitive for a good bit, doing game battles and things like that, I think it's actually set me up pretty well. One thing I really need to keep in mind is that you can't just rush everywhere you go. I mean, you're going to notice I get sniped here a million times, and I'm not used to, for instance, a headshot from a pistol or an AR, just one shot being able to take you out. So I think that's another major thing. I need to just slow it down, play a little bit smarter, and from there I should be good to go. Yeah, the initial move from console to PC has been a challenge, and I think that goes for anyone when they first make that change. I've spent the past however many years, 17, 18 years playing on console. I mean, the only PC games I've played have been stupid games from coolmathgames.com or whatever, stupid crap like that. Strategy games, things like that. Nothing that actually requires hand-eye coordination like this. But I will say, when you put in the amount of hours that I've put in over the years on console, you develop that hand-eye coordination and for other things out from outside of video games as well. And it slowly but surely starts to transfer over, and just like anything else, the more time you put in, the better you get at something. And again, that just goes back to how rewarding I think this game can be and how other games can be as well. Another thing I find to be really interesting about this game is the buy window where you buy all your equipment and weapons, and you're only allocated a certain amount per round, and it's really based off of both your performance as well as the rest of your team's performance. And I really like that because I think especially nowadays in Call of Duty, it's kind of just, what's meta? Okay, I know it's search and destroy. Everybody's going to be running Ninja. Do you want to avoid YouTube nades? Okay, well, you need to run Flak Jacket. And it really just gets stale, and there's not a lot of thought that gets put into it now. So I really like this system. Each and every round is different. You may have what's considered a meta class. I'm still learning what the actual, call it whatever you want to call it, meta weapons are. I'm figuring out what I like so far, but I know the AK is good and things like that. But you need to be wise sometimes, and especially early on when you don't have a lot of money to spend. You know, do you want to save your money or do you actually want to buy a pistol or a mid-tier gun? Maybe it doesn't make sense. And I'm still learning all those things. I think that's very cool rather than just opening up a YouTube video and watching some guy just rant about some meta loadout that, you know, the whole population copies and there's just no creativity behind that at all. So I think that's really cool, and that's actually something I thought Call of Duty had in the past with a bit of the, I can't remember if it was the pick 10 system or something like that in one of the older Call of Duties. You know, a lot more originality back then. And I think that's something that's definitely been lacking in the franchise for a little bit. So definitely find that very refreshing in this. I like how the games go to 13. I think that's really cool. So you're really invested for the entirety of that game. And, you know, really, I think because of that too, the better team more often than not will win. You know, especially in the earlier days of Call of Duty, when you're playing Search and Destroy to just 4 rounds, really anything could happen, and especially with fluky things that go on within that game too. So I really think that this game does a good job of making sure that, you know, the right people and the right team are rewarded for their performance, and that's not always something that happens in other games. So that's really cool. By the way, whoever did this mod did an excellent job. I mean, the graphics are amazing. They got all the detail down to a T, the car placement, the paintings, everything. It runs so smoothly. I've noticed a lot of the mods in this game have been amazing, and actually before this we were playing on some 45-degree angle maps, and you'll hear it actually in some of the gameplay. A lot of us were still recovering from that, and it's like you're tilting your head the whole time and you feel dizzy afterwards. So a lot of us were still adjusting to that. But all right, well, I had a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed those couple of aces there at the end. That was awesome that I was able to turn things around there and show off some of my skills. So please let me know if you enjoyed the video. I definitely am interested in creating some more CS2 content in the future, but let me know in the comments down below if you'd like to see anything else, and I'll try my best to get some nice content out there for you guys. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.